Travis Kramer.
Here.
Scott McCorney. Gordon McGee.
Here.
Jason Weasey.
Here.
Paul Kraus.
Here.
Molly entered the waiting room.
The Open Meetings Act is posted on the wall. Item 4, consent agenda. Is there anything anyone sees that we need to take out and consider separately? If not, we'll need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
A motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Gordon McGee.
Aye.
Jason Weasey.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item 5, approval of minutes from the January 17th regular board meeting and variance hearing minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes for board meeting and variance hearing minutes. Second.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of the regular board meeting minutes from January 17th and the variance hearing minutes. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Gordon McGee.
Aye.
Jason Weasey.
Abstain, I was absent.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item 6, 6A, discussion and possible approval of approving a 3-foot variance on the west lot line for the property at 1505 Elkhorn Drive as recommended by the Planning Commission. And I see you guys are here tonight. Let me go over what my concern was. The variance you're requesting is on looking at your property from the street, it would be the right side of your property. Everyone was getting real confused with north and west, and so yeah. One of my biggest concerns was that if we allow you to be closer than 5 foot, then anything that the neighbor would want to build 10, 15, 20 years down the road would require a firewall if they were at the normal 5-foot distance, and without getting anybody to sign off on that, you know, you've got a property owner and the renter, and you know, that was our biggest concern. So
I have a thing from the owner, the rental property owners signing off that they're okay with everything that we have stated that we wanted to do.
Thanks.
We need,
trying to pull up the plan again here, yeah. So the footprint of the building is at 5 feet from your property line, but the eve is at 3 feet, and that's the concern on the, let's call it the right side of the property looking from the street. And I can understand, I thought I'd heard that you would be willing to build a firewall on your property.
The building inspector, Chris, said that if we do increase that distance, he would require a painted condition on the outside with fireproof paint and 5/8 drywall on the right hand.
On that side, yeah.
And I also talked, he was out last week doing some inspecting in the house. And I asked him about this. We were trying to bring the building a little bit forward because of the drop off in the back, just because it's so steep and so heavy back there. And I said, if I can't build closer than 5 feet, then my buildings are gonna be too close together. And he said, you can build within 5 feet of each other as long as 2 walls aren't parallel. And he said, if you do that, then no windows and a 20-minute fire door, plus also a 20-minute fire rated drywall, which is 5/8 drywall on the inside. He's just obviously trying to eliminate fire.
So basically, you're gonna have to do it on one end or the other, is
If we
what
can
it
bring
is.
it forward, that puts us too close together. If we can scoot it to the right, then I think we'll have 11 or 12 feet building to build. So we're trying to stay in the size of the footprint of the building for vehicle and camper storage.
Yeah. So the hardship for not following the 5-foot variance would be, you said you're at 10, 11 or 12 feet. You're right there in that you can't get 10 feet away.
Well, we could reduce the overhangs down to 12 inches or 9 inches. Not gonna look same as the house.
It's not gonna match the house.
24-inch overhang
Yeah.
on the sides and 12-inch on the end. If we went 12 inches on the sides and 9 on the ends, because the way I was told it was from gutter to gutter. Or I said, is that from the building to building? And he says, no, that's the gutters and the overhangs and whole. So we can shrink the overhangs and decrease the actual total width of the building to increase the. And it would also help if, by being able to build it, pull it forward and slide it over another 2 feet, that keeps us from having so much more heavy construction going on that backside.
What if you get the 40, go ahead. If you get the 40-foot building in there, that's the big thing, right? If it was 35, you'd have plenty of room.
So that's an option for you, is a 35-foot building or some smaller building rather than a 40-foot building.
We're trying to stay at that 40-foot because of the existing camper with the trailer and the spare tire or the et cetera, et cetera.
And this is the property owner, you said, Justin Dalton. Jed Dalton.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. My concern is still somebody down the road is gonna come up to us and say, now I have to build a firewall on my garage if we want to be within 5 feet, you know. These are the kinds of things that we have to worry about down the road, you know, if we make exceptions. That's my only concern. You know, if I knew this guy was gonna own this place for 50 years, I'll probably won't have to answer questions if he's okay for 50 years. What are the chances that he could add anything to that side of his property?
He doesn't have any drive access.
Yeah,
Right.
Well, there is driveway, but no.
There's no, and then it has like a weird, like cement pad with a railing there. There is a building there already.
mhm.
Per se, that wouldn't be any, there's no, there's plenty of space between the two buildings. It's not right on their property line. Right, and it drops off quite a bit. So if they would build a building there, they would have to have ability to pull in probably a substantial amount of dirt.
Yeah,
So you're talking
and I don't know if they have room between the house and our property line. I don't know what that is.
with the way their
I
house
granted, if
is.
they weren't gonna drive back there, but if they wanna build something back there, I guess they could.
Yeah.
I'd have to look at that, I guess. I don't remember what there is for distance between the house and our property.
Between their house and the property
Yeah.
line, you're not sure what that
I don't know what
distance
they
is.
have or did with there, I guess. I
Yeah.
can't really. Don't know if it'd be wide enough to drive through there or not, I don't know.
So you're roughly 8 to 10 feet probably is what you're thinking.
Something like that. It might be a little more, I guess.
Yeah.
I felt like our property line goes quite a bit over to their, like
Yeah, I
already,
don't-
like
yeah, I
the
can't really-
ground wise, so we know our
Yeah.
driveway, we have about, where that little box that's sitting up, we have own all of that too. So they really don't have a lot of room on their property to even build that site.
That's what I was trying to see if there's, because they have is there a fence still there between your property and theirs? No,
We took that down.
you took that down. Gotcha.
So the existing driveway is how far from the property line?
Theirs is.
The right side of the
about 6
driveway.
feet.
Okay. There's not much room between the property line and their place.
The cable Cox, I believe, put in new communication lines along the street there. And it probably won't show on your pictures, but the pedestal that's there, Mark and Ashley's property line is about 3 feet over.
Mhm.
So they would have to, if they were gonna build a driveway or anything there, they would have to do something with that communication pedestal. Fiber optics and cable, et cetera.
Well, I feel better that we at least have a property owner's consent. And maybe looking at that a little more, I don't know that they would. I think it would be likely to say that there probably wouldn't be anything added on to that place if you've only got, maybe 3 to 5 feet to work with anyways. Anybody else have any more questions, concerns?
I guess if Chris, the building inspector's happy with everything on his end, the odds of someone else building theirs highly unlikely, I think.
I think if that property owner wanted to do something attached, it would have to be, and there's some 10% or 15% of the lot width. And then that's gonna be too close to the property line. So he'd have to do a detached building also.
Yeah.
His property lines get thin back there.
You could decrease the overhang, but then it just wouldn't, and that would
It
be,
wouldn't look right.
it wouldn't
It's-
look like your
It'd
house.
be the same shape, just a smaller scale.
And that, but if you did that, that would meet code at 5 feet? Or no? Would you say?
Yes.
I was in a similar situation when I built my garage. I was following the code and following the rules with Chris and the county. I had to cut my overhang off my neighbor's side.
It physically, it doesn't, I don't believe it hurts the building. It's just
Right.
aesthetic, especially when you drive up and you've got teeny little overhangs and big overhangs on the house, gutters and downspouts.
If there's no further questions or comments, I would entertain a motion to approve the variance. If anybody chooses to do so. If we have a motion and a second, we can vote on it.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve the 3-foot variance on the west lot line for the property at 1505 Elkhorn Drive as recommended by the planning commission.
Motion.
Nikki, we have a motion and a second to approve the variance on the west lot line for the property at 1505 Elkhorn Drive as recommended by the planning commission. There's no further discussion. Let's vote on that motion.
Jason Weasey.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Nay.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Gordon McGee.
Yeah,
Aye. Your variance is approved. As long as you're in compliance with whatever the building inspector tells you need to do, so. Thank you for coming down and getting to us. Let's move on to item B, ETR survey presented by Benjamin Jewell from the UNL Extension. We've
Hello.
got-
And then,
Hi there, how are you?
good.
Okay, yeah, I'm Ben Jewell. I'm an extension educator. I'm based in Blair, so I cover Washington County plus 5 other counties in this area. And part of my work is involved with working with communities across that region to take on new projects, whether that be a downtown revitalization or strategic planning process or different kind of quality of life improvements in their communities. So I've been working with Nikki and others on this particular project around the downtown of Arlington. So I'm going to show you, we've developed a survey here for residents of Arlington. Would be kind of our, is it okay if I think you have to stop screen share, Nikki, if I screen share. There we go. Thank you. Okay, let me just pull this up here. Okay, so basically what we sort of have conceptualized here is a kind of multi-step process that will start with this survey. And this is really intended for residents of Arlington who are not business owners in downtown. And so the reason that we're doing that is we want to have separate conversations with those downtown business owners, sort of one-on-one, to really kind of learn from them what their needs and visions for downtown or their business looks like. So we can kind of have that that information separate from this one. So this one will focus kind of exclusively on people who do not own businesses in downtown Arlington. So once we get that, we'll do those interviews with the business owners themselves. And then we'll produce a report and share that back with the board here as soon as we can get that ready. We would like to, after that point, once the board has seen the report and the information we've gleaned out of it and have kind of approved us to move forward, we would like to host some community meetings after that to really share out to the community what we heard from everybody collectively and kind of maybe make some recommendations for next steps or different projects that could happen in Arlington. So I'll kind of show you here what the survey looks like so you can have a sense. We just have a little introductory text here to give folks a understanding of what we're doing and who's involved. And then we do have a kind of filter out question here that will ask if they're a property owner in downtown Arlington. So if you do click yes on that, you'll be shown to the very end of the survey where we have a kind of explanation for why we're not accepting their survey at this particular time. And we do have a linked form here that they can fill out online to indicate their interest in an interview or just talking with us or letting us come over and get some information with them. So we want to make it very clear that they have a role to play in this project. So going back to the beginning, once you select no there, it'll move you on to the rest of the questions here. So we kind of have a series of different questions and question types. We have a couple different charts here. So this one just kind of rating downtown Arlington in various categories from attractiveness, convenience of parking, safety, et cetera, pedestrian friendliness, and condition of buildings. So pretty straightforward question for folks. And then asking how well do the downtown businesses communicate their hours? What is their sort of marketing and communication, and how well is that working? We have a couple questions around some places that people have been to that might be of interest to them, or places that they found exciting or innovative, and what those stores and community names are, just kind of for a reference point. A little bit of questions again on frequency of using downtown services, and then asking some reasons why they actually visit downtown that's not related to work. And then we get into kind of a couple questions about, what from their vantage point is missing in downtown or could be added that would improve quality of life. So this one's about service businesses. So we have an array of different service businesses listed here that folks could add or indicate that they would like to see in downtown. They can also indicate something that's not on the list here. And then we do the same thing with retail businesses. So again, another kind of list of different options there that you might see in a downtown area. We dive into a little bit about restaurants, same kind of thing. What's missing? What would you like to see? We wanted to kind of get a sense of, too, not just the businesses, but the events and activities and kind of community events that go on in downtown. Those are very important to building a strong community connection and feeling for the community. So just wanted to see how frequently or which events people are really going to.
Party festival.
There's a place to list anything else. Then we ask a little bit about kind of what they like to do in their free time and kind of connect that to a service or a business or an amenity that could be added to downtown to kind of support those leisure pursuits. A couple questions about, what could, so in various downtown areas or community areas, they come up with sort of a strategic theme for the area. It might be based on a particular cultural heritage. If you think about the kind of South Nebraska area with the German and Polish heritage in that area, and sort of there's some communities have leveraged that to kind of market their downtown area. Then a little bit about how Arlington could serve families and young adults and what their needs might be. And then we got into a couple questions. I believe these were suggested by or requested by the board. These are gauging people's support for the use of public funds to pay for enhancements, and then using of private funds. So open to the suggestions on any of these questions or edits or things you think that might be a good addition here. And then it just kind of moves them on to their little bit of who they are kind of questions, some basic age, gender, household income kind of stuff and where they work. So that's the gist of it there. Like I said, we're happy to answer any questions. I know Nikki's got a postcard being made that we'll be able to distribute to folks, and then they can just kind of take a picture of a QR code and go right to the survey and fill it out. So it should be pretty easy to do. I can show you here real quick. Here's what it looks like on a mobile phone side by side there. So they do a pretty good job of streamlining it for that view. So it should be real doable and easy for folks to do, either on the phone or on a computer. So happy to answer any questions or take suggestions if anyone has them.
I think it looks good. I think we had some surveys that kind of touched on some of this a while back. When we built this building, we did a CF grant application, and we kind of touched on it, but I think this one might be a little more relevant to what we want to see for downtown businesses and the kind of push we've got going from people that want to see some downtown businesses. So
Great.
maybe it'll be a little more relevant to us. And
good. Yeah, glad to hear that. It's always what we're shooting for. And, you know, this can be a first step if you get through this process and the board feels like, you know what, we didn't get all of the information we really want. We can look at other options after that as well. So.
anybody have any questions? Good.
Okay, well, I'll continue to work with Nikki then, and we'll continue to move forward.
All right.
Thank you, Ben.
Thanks a lot for your time. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Probably about time to start thinking about another meeting for downtown development, I guess. Maybe when he comes back to us with some information, maybe we could have try and schedule another meeting. Item C, social media policy discussion. Do we have anything on that tonight?
Has been gathering, well, I sent out to the clerk group and just asked people if they would send their social media policies. And we did get some. She's been sifting through those, trying to compare and see what's common. They seem to be pretty similar. We just haven't.
Kate? Okay, I didn't hear who you, I just heard she.
Yeah.
Does Tim doesn't have an example from other communities that they work with, do they?
I can ask him. But we were planning to sit down and try and adapt these for something for us and then send it to Tim and get his input and then put it in front of you.
I don't know if he had examples of ones that were written or not.
I will.
Yeah, if you could ask him, that'd be great. Thank you. That's you and me, right? That's working on that. No.
Sure.
The to-do list.
7 hours.
I think it was.
Okay.
I came and talked to her about it.
Perfect.
So
All right, so we'll keep working on that. Item D, citizen recognition program. I don't know that we've had any committee meetings on this. I know I've talked with Nikki about it. Travis, have you? got
I did.
any info or?
I did pull together some criteria of similar programs around the country and just kind of smashed them all together and sent it to Nikki just today. And just said, Nikki, take a look at this, see what you think. It's just a criteria for awarding someone basically it's a commitment to the community, whether it be a volunteer or whatever it is.
Mhm.
So hopefully we have a month or so to kind of comb through it and then present it next month and maybe formalize it.
Good. Item E, update on hiring of deputy clerk.
Kate Robertson has been hired and she is fantastic. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm ecstatic.
Well, that's good news. If there's nothing else on that, let's move to item F, update on the comprehensive plan committee. I haven't done much. I need to talk to probably the rest of the planning commission board. I know Mike Dwyer wants to be a part of this. I know we'd like to get a couple from that board. And we probably just need to put a call out in the paper for interested people or on our Facebook page, one of the two. I think we can get some volunteers to come forward. I would much rather do that than try and strong arm people. into doing it.
Chelsea said that she would be willing to be doing
I kind of figured she would be uneasy. We'll keep working on that. Maybe put something on our Facebook page.
I want to ask Tim Allraven. I mean, he was on the planning commission back then.
Yeah, he might be a good one
I
to.
mean, I know he's not in the community, but just like
Still,
like a business.
He's investing money in our
Exactly,
community.
that's what I'm saying.
He's still here.
He might have an interest as a business owner.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why he was no longer on the planning commission is because they moved, but.
But he would be a good addition.
But he also would be a little bit of a guidance in that he was on it last time too.
Mhm.
I haven't talked to Tim to see if he's willing or not.
Okay, update on water sewer contract with the Washington County Fair Board. I know James was gonna try and find some time to talk to.
I talked to John Hatton today.
Mhm.
He says about 70% of the water down there is metered. He said hopefully sometime this spring, because they have a little bit of money, they're gonna try to get everything else metered.
Okay.
Two buildings that are connected to the sewer, the Riven building and the Two Rivers building, both have meters. The thing is, he installed the meters and got the meters himself, so I do not know if they're compatible with our readers, so it would probably have to just be read manually, but I mean, if I can get a hold of somebody, get in there and start reading them manually every month so we can get an idea of what's going on, I think that'd be great.
I think for one customer like that, I think we could read them, semi-annually or whatever it takes to, make sure that we're getting paid for our water use, but.
I mean, those were the ones that are hooked to the sewer. I mean, that was what I was mostly worried about. That's where a lot of the money is, unfortunately, is paying 3 months.
Yeah,
I think if I can get in there and start getting some information on that, then we can go from there.
yeah, I would say just if you can get in there and start keeping track of them, we'll go from there. And I think we need to look at that and renegotiate there.
John, when I talked to John, he sounded like he understood that completely.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody else has gotten increases, so. We need to make sure we're metering what goes on down there. All right, item H, discussion and possible decision on how to proceed with FEMA buyout properties. There's two instances I want to talk about. One is a potential contract. I think we can go into executive session on that one. The other one, we need to get in touch with the current property owner, I think. I've heard that one of the houses had changed hands and there was interest in building something there. They knew they would have to haul in fill dirt. Obviously, we've been real lenient with the FEMA, the NRD on getting these properties tore down, but if a private person is wanting to buy that place, I think we need to check with them and find out if that's what's really going on, or if they're gonna wait for the buyout and see if they can get the buyout. We continue to wait, but I believe if it's a private property owner buying it, we need to get on demolition and then make sure they understand that those places have been condemned and we need to get them taken care of. So item H, we'll table the rest of that discussion for later. We can go into executive session at the end on the other ones. Item 7, new business communications report. Gordon, you're kind of taking the lead on that. Sound like you had some stuff with the.
Yeah, just a couple of quick updates. So Cox, as of earlier this month, they had about 150 homes that were capable of getting fiber service. And I know there are a couple individuals just from my block alone that have signed up. So that's good. That's progressing. And they said by the end of this month, they should have all homes in Arlington capable of receiving service from them. And then ABB, earlier, well, last week, they told me they needed a few pieces of equipment yet. And once they got that equipment in, then they would fire up the first 300 houses in Arlington. And they expected to have that equipment at the end of this week. So they're making good progress as well. They're now out there installing additional boxes on homes. So I'd be surprised if we get some phone calls here or ABB gets calls about that. Any questions?
When people call you with a concern, do you have numbers for them to call? So, yeah. I guess the biggest thing I can see is being in people's yards, they're surprising a lot of people. I wish they could be a little more forthcoming on, hey, we're going to be in your neighborhood. Maybe, I don't know how you do that better, but
They could use door hangers.
Door hangers saying we're gonna be there this week, so.
I know I've seen them several times in our neighborhood and, they're here and they're there. They're not always there for long periods of time, but a lot of people are concerned with somebody just walking through their backyard.
I have voiced that concern with them several times.
Other than that, we should be getting some fiber soon and that'll be nice. Streets committee report. Jen and I think we're gonna set up a meeting next week. We've started on a strategic plan. We've got some things written down. Got some big ideas I'd like to see us do on streets. We'll see if we can figure out a way to afford them. So I'd like to see us eventually get rid of all the asphalt streets and get concrete in all the streets. When is that meeting? Just as planning session, will probably be on a Monday, but if you've got input, don't be afraid to give me a holler and let me know. We had real good luck with that last project down Ellsworth Street. I've gotten a lot of compliments about the way that looked, the way it came out, and just the fact that we've gotten rid of some of the asphalt where we were doing the armor coating, and it just seems like a no-brainer right now. We don't spend much on maintenance on the concrete streets, and we're always fixing the asphalt. So it's more expensive to put in, but boy, it sure seems to last longer.
Yeah, it's only gonna get more expensive.
Yeah.
Waiting long.
And getting people to bid on our,
Yeah.
getting people to bid on our asphalt projects is insane. Just trying to get people to put a bid in. It's.
Can't find labor.
Yeah.
No way to work.
No. So. Anything else on streets, John, that you can think of?
I don't have anything.
I did have one, John. Is there more, did you get any more bids on that project that we went and looked at that one?
I have not. No.
Okay.
I got the one.
You did get that one.
I'm gonna work on that this month, but it's.
Sure.
Coming up with one.
Where do you guys do your bid lettings through?
On a big project, we have to advertise for
Yeah,
it.
but where do you advertise?
We have to advertise, our paper is the Arlington Citizen.
It's only in the paper though?
Well, our engineering companies, they put it out on, I don't know what that website.
I have no idea what.
Yeah, I can't think what, they put it on the,
I've never seen it on Quest. I saw.
Quest, I think is the one that they use, isn't it? Isn't it Quest? I think it's,
That was on Quest EM. I never saw anything for the streets.
but we had a different engineer that did the bathroom than our streets. I'm pretty sure JEO uses Quest.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. Yeah, I
They
think,
usually let me know everything. That's why I'm shocked that I'm just now hearing about street repairs in this town.
Yeah.
So that's why I was wondering where you guys.
because I'm trying to think who the last group that did the last project. This is just,
The street patching.
yeah, the street patching in November.
Oh, that was,
They're on Northwood.
trying to think where they were out of.
Homer, wasn't it?
Was it
So that was who did the concrete.
the big project? Yeah.
It wasn't Omni? What?
No, it was, I want to say they were out of Lincoln, down by
Oh,
Lincoln.
Constructors.
Constructors Inc.
Yeah. I try to remember.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it's Quest. I think it's Quest. Now, you said it, that's the one
Yeah,
that,
I check Quest
at
least daily.
JEOs are our official streets engineers, though. Thank you for bringing that up. We'll definitely ask them to make sure.
Yeah,
it's getting-
once you get a
Yeah,
insurance. Yeah.
There's nothing else on streets. Let's go ahead and move to water sewer. James, what do you have for us?
I talked to Luke from Lane Christensen at the end of last week. He's the guy, they're gonna be doing some of the work in the pressure reducing station. Still waiting on a few things. But he wanted to call me. He kind of wants to see when we want to schedule that. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to shut down half of the town for a couple hours. Which means we're also, since we're gonna go below 20 PSI, we're gonna have to have a boil notice. I'm trying to talk to Mike, see if he can do it. I don't know if that's something he can do overnight, so we're not closing people down during the day. The boil notice would be for a couple days,
Yeah,
unfortunately, because we have to do a couple tests. And I don't think there's any way around that.
yeah.
So,
No garden hose,
no,
nothing building, nothing like that.
nothing like that. No, there's no bypass.
Maybe a fire hose? Yeah,
Unfortunately, I don't think we have anything.
okay. Well, keep us posted on that. I don't know what's a better time of year to be without water. Or, you know, that's something we should look at. Try and get some ideas on what's the best time.
Yeah, I don't know if spring is better than fall or definitely not the summer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I haven't
something to
heard,
think about on that is the school affected on that?
no, school's on the other side.
They're on the other side.
So it's everything east of the old water tower, basically.
Gotcha.
East and south.
South. Because I was just thinking if the school's involved, then obviously we might want to wait until after school's out. But if the school's not involved in that, then it's probably not as big a deal. Because if you think about the families that would have kids, they would be taken care of by having water still there. So.
And Casey's would be on that. That would be, I think, the biggest thing. They'd be without water for a couple hours, but the problems that we've had down there on 6th Street, they've been without water for longer than that. So my main concern is just the boil notice. That's just a pain. I'm sure that every resident is going to be a little upset about that. So.
Well, if we're knowing about this in advance, we can put something out there on the water bills, even say, hey, we're looking to schedule, we should be able to schedule that at least a month in advance and start in the morning.
Absolutely.
Milk jugs.
We already talked about the fair board. I don't know, we got the Beehive and Diamond Maps thing down here, so I mean, that's really all I got. Till we get to that.
All right. As far as committee report, we had our quarterly meeting on the 7th of February. We talked about SCADA replacement, which that's something we're gonna have to, we're working on some other pricing for that one, right?
Still working on
Yep.
this.
Okay. We've got the 6th Street water main that we've repaired several times with the pressure reducing station failure, the spikes from the station. So we're looking at that as a potential big project, which could have also some water shutdown ramifications for Casey's. So we need to figure out if we can find the time to shut them down, or do we run a new service line for Casey's so they have their own line and they wouldn't be affected with these other things. And maybe we talk to them and see if they'd be interested in sharing any of that. I think we'll move forward with that. We would probably have to budget that one in because it's a pretty big repair. We're thinking maybe in the range of $50,000 to $70,000. So because how many repairs can you remember on that line? 3?
I think the last time we had it open, there's at least 6 clamps on there, but we've done 3 since I've been here. So.
And I know there's been several down there before you've been involved. So it's probably nothing but Band-Aids underneath of there. Something we should look at so we don't have these after hours calls and when we don't have fiber companies in town to blame it on, and get them to help share the bill.
Don't hit their lines.
We also talked about air dryer, heater for the plant to keep things working up there and keep water out of our valves. I think we were okay with you going ahead and getting some
I did get
bid.
a quote. All they quoted me for was just the dryer, and I said, okay, well, what's it gonna cost? You know, I can't put it in, so he's still working on that.
Okay.
Should have it by next week.
We're looking at another 4 manholes for rehab. We talked about sewer lines, talked about making 4 zones in town and trying to keep track of the cleaning of these sewer lines. Maybe getting some quotes about, I know Buck had given us quotes a while back, and at that time, I think we were a little shell shocked. Maybe now it makes more sense. We're trying to eliminate some of the water infiltration to spend some money on these sewer lines. So that's about all we talked about in our quarterly meetings. Anything you want to add to that?
Just the ordinance for tracer wire, bringing new developments that need to start talking about if we want to do something like that to help us in the future trace lines.
On any new construction.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Item C, discussion and approval of software subscription from Beehive or Diamond Maps. We got a little bit of a preview of Diamond Maps from James and Mike while we were at that quarterly meeting. It's been kind of a project trying to get anything on the Beehive because it's not the same you guys use and it isn't compatible with anything you guys do, but so we looked at the Diamond Maps, and we've also got a renewal coming up for Beehive, so. But do you have anything on that, Travis, that you wanted to add?
No, there's a significant difference between Beehive, which is an annual fee of $3,600, and Diamond Maps, which is $240 a year. Sorry, that's the single user. But it's on the annual basis, it's about 1/10 the cost. And I guess it'd come down to, do we get the features out of Diamond Maps that we need to save the money? I mean, it's the grand scheme, it's not a lot, but it's still something.
When do we have to renew Beehive? Is there any way we could try both at the same time?
It's March.
What do
In my
you-
opinion, it's just what you want out of the two systems. Beehive is a lot. I mean, there's a lot more stuff you can do with Beehive. Diamond Maps is more of just a mapping. But it's just so much easier. I can just get right on my phone and take a picture right while I'm there, upload it right to Diamond Maps.
No.
With this unlimited users, so like John and Tyler would be able to go in and they could put down, if you want to do streets and parks, maybe even upload like trees where you put in new trees. But they would only be able to edit those features. It's like I would only be able to edit the water and sewer, but any of the other users would be able to see everything.
No.
Makes sense. You would have access to all the information, just wouldn't be able to edit some of the stuff.
Obviously, John, you've probably worked with it a little bit, seen it.
I have not yet,
Okay.
but it sounds like from what we're using currently on Beehive, we just don't, I don't think we're using it to its full capability.
Yeah.
So the mapping would be good just for valves when we're going to try to shut water off, and street repairs, I think it would work for that, like patching, if we could map where we did our patching this year. And then going forward, we know that we did that patching 3 years ago. And, stuff like that, or when we do crack sealing, it'd be easier to. James says it's a little bit easier to manage than Beehive.
From what we saw in the presentation, it did seem to be easier to work.
Yeah, you can actually take a photo or video right from your phone
And upload it.
and
right there.
upload it right there.
versus having to send it back to, because that was one of the issues with Beehive, was couldn't do that directly. There's some compatibility issues with Beehive and iPhones and the movie files or whatever. I mean, again, that's small, but still it's the point of convenience. If you can upload it right now, we get better data.
The one thing that struck me is training is available for both, but for the diamond maps, it's click on it right there.
Most videos are 3 minutes long.
And with our current system, it's, yeah, call and schedule it. Training is free. Call and schedule it and we'll set it up, which is certainly not as convenient.
James, which one do you like better, seeing both of them?
I like diamond maps better, but no, that's, like I said, the Beehive is, there's so much more you can do with that. I think that's why it's more expensive. So it just depends on what you guys want out of it. Because there's gonna be things that you're not gonna be able to do. On Beehive.
Yeah, I think one of the things that it offers was work orders,
Yeah, so like all the work orders and
But-
stuff.
it's not something we do, right?
Well, if we were.
Diamond Maps has that according to this
I
website.
think that it would.
I don't know if that would cost
be
more.
a good asset to have as work orders when you have 50 employees working around, but it's the three of us mainly. And, you know, if something needs to be done, Nikki can just call me or Tyler or James and just say, yeah. I
So
mean,
less of a work scheduling and more of a work results
Exactly.
notation history.
So is there any functionality that we're currently using that will be missing if we were to transition?
I haven't seen anything.
I wouldn't be opposed to dropping Beehive or keeping it for another year. I just feel like how many years have we had it and we just haven't been able to use it to its potential.
I'd say from the demonstration that we saw on Diamond Maps, I'm completely comfortable switching.
Yeah, me too.
Do we have to migrate any data over to?
I already have all of the water and sewer information on diamond maps.
So there would be some minimal street data that we should be able to
Minimal, yeah.
move over.
And I can,
90 days to get that data. Beehive.
For the decision?
Yeah, I would say we need a motion, obviously, to purchase the dime maps. Do we need any kind of motion on Beehive to let that go, or do we just let it go?
Well, I think you can do one motion to.
Change.
approve Diamond maps, yes, diamond maps.
A motion to discontinue our Beehive subscription and purchase option 2, unlimited users. $20 a year from Diamond Maps.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second for the purchase of Diamond Maps software. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Gordon McGee.
Aye.
Jason Weasel.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item D, I see we've got Mike on the Zoom.
I'm here.
Hi, Mike. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Supper.
Yep,
Thanks for coming,
thanks for
guys.
coming.
Mike, sorry. Do you have anything for us? Anything exciting?
No, nothing exciting, just same old stuff.
Okay.
Hey, Mike, does the Washington County Sheriff's Office have a strategic plan?
Do we have a strategic plan?
Can you send a copy of that to Nikki for me, please?
Yeah,
We're working on our own for Arlington, so any help that we could get on that, that'd be great.
yep, check with Dan too, emergency manager.
Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
he'll have several for the county. You guys have anything for me? I know that we did get that violation letter served on Saturday.
I don't have anything. Do you guys have anything, Scott or Jason?
Not at this time, yeah. Jason and I are part of that, the police committee, and that's part of our task here. We got to finish in the next month or two is preparing a strategic plan for Arlington, so if we can look at yours, that'll help us out, and pretty cut and dry, I think.
Yep, whenever, if you guys want to meet, just let me know. Give me some dates and time.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
You betcha.
All right, if there's nothing else for Mike, thanks for signing in. And we will talk to you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Item E, Parks. Committee report from Travis and Gordon. Do you guys have anything?
Yeah, what's on the subsequent?
Beyond the bid, we'll get to that as soon as we can. I know, Molly, I appreciate you hanging on. We're trying to get to you.
We did have a meeting with John, Tyler, Nikki, Gordy, and Keith. And we went over our proposal for a strat plan for Parks and Rec. We've updated the kind of the open project list, not approved project, but projects we see as potentially being ones we could pursue in the upcoming years. Kind of got it laid out, maybe need to get some numbers and estimates on different projects. So we're definitely looking for any community input for other Parks and Rec type projects. And if someone would have thoughts or things they'd like to see, we'd love to know about it and get it added to our plan.
All right, anything on the library report?
Is there anything we're supposed to do with this ARPA youth grant?
They have not gotten me their list yet. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's move on to the for the remodel project. And we'll let Molly in if she's got anything that's.
Molly, do you want to unmute? There you go.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So my team and I sat down and we discussed the bids at length, and we think the low bid was very reasonable within what we're seeing in this bid climate. I know it's more than you had originally planned for. You know, all construction costs in the last year, we've seen consistently about 30% higher in the last year, just due to everything that's happening right now. But there isn't a lot we can cut from the current design to get you to the original budget that you had. And so we could look at a possible redesign, but I don't, from the conversations we've had, I just don't know if that's where you would want to go, because it would basically be just kind of not doing that reconfiguring. And it sounds like that's not kind of how you see the overall, you know, project. So I don't know, just that's what we talked about internally. Current design, you know, we were, you know, being as minimal as possible with the exception of tile finish that we could eliminate, but that's, you know, you're talking a few $1,000s. And so that's kind of where we're at. I don't know if you have any other questions for me.
Yeah, Molly, I know we talked about this during our meeting, but for the rest of the board, could you just maybe give a little description as far as the range of the bids that we received?
Oh, yes, sorry. So the low bidder was JFK Construction out of Omaha. They were 110,000 roughly. And then second low was Midwest DMC. They were 155. I believe the difference between those two is that JFK was, I apologize, JFK was 90 days and Midwest DMC was 120 days. So, you know, that's 30 more days of construction. So I'm guessing that was the difference in theirs. And then Elk Ridge construction was 192, which we felt was completely over. But like I said, we felt that JFK construction at the 110 aligned with what we're seeing in construction costs for this type of project.
Have you guys worked with JFK before? Do you have any feelings on them or any?
We haven't, but they sent me a list of references. And they've done lots of projects in various cities. So it seemed well within their wheelhouse to be doing that. They've worked for ESU 3, for the Iowa Army National Guard, for Sarpy County. They've done some work in Fremont. And I can certainly forward on that list that they sent me, but it seemed like they've done various scales of projects, some larger than this one, some same size, but seems like they have the qualifications to do the project.
Like for a contractor like that you haven't worked with before, would it be customary or acceptable to get some additional background from those jobs that they've completed?
Yeah.
Be recommendation.
I was kind of waiting for this meeting, just because I know we didn't know if we wanted to potentially proceed forward, but yeah, we would follow up. And so they forwarded me a list of references, which then I will call and make sure that, there aren't any red flags, speak individually with those clients that they've worked with. That's how we would proceed forward.
So could we make a motion to accept the bid and then still change our mind if you were to get some kind of negative reviews that made you feel uncomfortable?
Yeah, I think you could make a motion to accept the bid pending review of
Qualifications. Okay.
Nikki, how are we sitting on bookings at the auditorium in the next, say, 30 to 60 days?
Everyone who has booked, there aren't very many bookings, but everybody who has booked is aware that this project may be starting.
Okay.
So they know there's still be able to use, and that there may be some construction mess in the entryway. So there are a couple of fundraisers, I think, between now and then.
There's a couple of
The bingo night and the
March and then 1st of April.
wild turkey.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, do you guys feel comfortable making a recommendation?
Yeah, Molly, the design include compliance with the latest ADA code?
I'm sorry, it cut out on my end. Could you repeat that?
Are the bathroom design, is it compliant with the latest ADA code?
Yes.
Great.
And, we are,
Ask for our client references.
one thing that we had kind of talked about, you could eliminate, but you really don't want to, is that thermal envelope, because, the plumbing runs on that exterior wall. It's got to be insulated. It's not right now. So again, there's that thermal element that's, adding a bit of cost, but it's still not a lot of cost, and it's definitely needed for, efficiency and the plumbing element to ensure that pipes don't freeze and stuff like that.
So again, for the rest of the board, I think, the bid from JFK is a bit more than what we had originally budgeted for the bathroom project, but it is within the budget we have within Parks and Rec for the auditorium for capital expenditures.
Yep.
I think what Molly referenced with the 30% increase in construction costs, that's probably what off tracked a bit from budget. But I think the question I asked Molly was, are construction costs going to go down next year or the year after? And
Probably not.
she laughed at me as well. Was that a cough or was that a laugh?
It was a little bit of both.
No, I just sat in on a seminar with, where they're projecting the costs for basically the next 10 years. Just because it's been so unprecedented what has happened. And they're talking this calendar year, so 2022, it'll be 12 to 15% inflation in construction costs. And then next year, it'll be somewhere between like 7 and 8. And then finally, maybe in 3 years, they're predicting that it could go back to the normal 3 to 4 that it typically is. So yeah, it's very interesting what's happening. And I mean, there's material shortages that's causing it. There's labor shortages. There's obviously COVID has affected it dramatically. It's just very unprecedented.
And you've seen final plans and drawings already or not?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, we have final plans from Jennifer.
Oh, they're back there.
So we can make a motion to approve pending review of references.
Yeah.
I motion to accept the bid from JFK Construction in the amount of $110,186 for the renovation of the auditorium bathrooms, pending review of JFK's references.
Quick question on that motion. Do we need to also, I think in the bid, it noted there could be a 5%. Is there, Molly, I guess, as far as any fees that could be over and above the bid that we received, is there any leeway in the bid for any variation, or is it would have to be based upon a change order that the cost would be over that 110?
They have 5%.
Yeah, so if there was, if a change order came out of, say there was some unforeseen condition, if it was a contractor error or anything like that, we review all their pay applications and all of that as we move through the process. So if there was any sort of like error in their bid, that would be caught, and you wouldn't be charged like a change order for something like that. If there was like a design error, you wouldn't be charged for that. So it's mainly the things that would be unforeseen, like if there were anything, that we couldn't see not doing, like we just go out and field verify. We don't like just get destructive and get into walls and, but so if there was anything unforeseen, that would basically be the only really thing that you would have risk of change order. I mean, it's a pretty cut and dry project. There's not I don't foresee a lot of that stuff happening. But that's kind of one of those things you can't really predict. There's always unknowns that come up in every project, but like I said, I mean, yours is pretty small and.
At least a couple of us were okay.
Okay, all right, I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second to approve the low bid from JFK Construction pending reference checks. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Jason Weasey.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott Corney.
Aye.
Gordon McGee.
Aye.
Paul Travis.
All right, thank you, Molly. Sorry we made you wait so long.
Oh, no, that's okay. All right, thank you. Have a good night.
You too. All right, discussion. This was something, I'm hoping we talked about this and I forgot. I didn't see anything in the packet.
Are you talking about the RPAC?
Yes,
They did not get me their list of items that they would like to purchase, so
Who's they?
the library.
Oh, okay,
They
okay.
have to make these purchases by the end of March, so hopefully,
Oh.
they're trying to figure out laptops, and they decided they weren't sure what they needed, so they're trying to do some research and figure out what they need, and so.
Well,
Who did we get these from that time? These have been really good. Do you remember?
I
Just through the- Did you give them that info?
state, I can't remember the name of the company, but I can
Oh.
find it.
I was saying maybe.
could we make
It's
a
a state
motion to
company.
let someone approve these purchases up to that amount? So that it wouldn't hamstring them? I mean, what would we not approve?
I don't know. I.
Wasn't this back to the issue where we didn't have oversight on spending and we weren't approving things rather than just them having isn't this kind of where we got in trouble with the audit a couple of years back? Where we were just trying to say, go ahead and spend up to so much. We didn't have oversight, but I was early on the board, so I'm-
Yeah, we've had issues with this library ever since we've tried to convert it to getting it back under our
Right.
umbrella.
Yet these expenses have to follow the guidelines of this.
Well, they're gonna be capped at the amount of our ARP Act funds. I just wouldn't want to see us hamstring those guys by having them wait until the third week of March.
Can we approve spending with final approval from?
From our library, you want to be the library go-between and, or I can do it, it doesn't matter.
I
to
don't
me
mind,
either
that's
way.
fine. And it's all money from ARP, right? It's 100% covered. We're not footing a bill.
It's grants, so.
So
So I'd say we need a motion to approve the library purchasing items at their discretion or at up to the amount of 5,200. And
final approval.
let's
on-
Parks member, you seem to be the go-between with the library, so
Sure.
I would say Parks member Travis Kramer can approve.
With final board approval next meeting,
Yeah,
kind of guide them into.
That's a wordy one. I get it, but.
did you get all that?
It's recorded.
Recorded. I mean, you guys have to approve, I mean, we have to write the checks for all this stuff and you guys have to approve those payments at some point anyway, so.
I'd say we should be.
So we're still approving it ultimately.
yes.
Okay, so then we're good then. Because we're still approving it.
So we don't need any motions tonight. Okay.
Got it.
Because they're not buying hand grenades. Or what else?
I'd like to note the look on Nikki's face for the record.
Okay, item E, discussion of possible approval of AIYS making improvements at Bell Creek. Travis had talked to Monkey about that.
I did. Basically, all they're asking for is permission to work on the wiring that was cut, I guess, during some remodeling, rework with the flooding. And they just want permission to fix it. They want to host a couple bigger tournaments this summer. And that requires them to have some lit fields at Bell Creek, one lit field, no additional, just fixing what's there.
Yeah.
Didn't sound like a lot of risk to us. They were paying for the repairs. They were asking nothing from us, just permission to do so. John, I don't know, any concerns?
Go ahead. I don't have the equipment to do it, so.
I couldn't think of any reason to
Yeah.
not
My
allow
only
them.
concern was if they were gonna interfere with something where we might potentially put a pond. I didn't want them to build a structure that we would have to
Yeah,
tear down if we were gonna build. a
from my
pond. So
understanding,
we're
it's
not-
literally just fixing the wiring to go to the lights so that they can have a night game,
Yeah.
which allows them, I think, about 4 more teams in a tournament. And you figure the entry fees on tournaments, that adds up in a hurry. And that was the only discussion, was fixing the lights. There was no other modifications.
We talked about that last year, I think. There was a couple that said they could come in and do it, so.
Okay, cool. I guess they just wanted to make sure they had the board's approval to go to work down there.
I see no problem with that. No motion needed there, I don't think. So let's move on to item F, cemetery. Anything new from you guys?
Nothing shattering, we're just starting our strategic planning, answered a couple questions about, like a bench placement and stuff on a grave and just normal routine stuff.
All right. Let's move on to item G. Did anybody have any questions or concerns on the Washington County permit report? See, our new constructions have kind of slowed down in our neighborhood, but didn't see any new ones on there for us. Any large ones?
That's 3 months worth of.
Month or so. Item B, discussion and possible approval of converting front desk HR hub.
This is something that will happen next year regardless of whether we want to or not. They're converting people for free right now. If we do it before the end of March, I think it is. So.
And this is just them making a change to their software, or this is us growing too big for the current?
This is part of their moving everything from Simple City into Front Desk. So eventually all of their modules from Simple City will be in the cloud. So they're just slowly, as they're getting these hubs ready, they're migrating people over to Front Desk with them. So this gets rid of our, it's just called payroll in Simple City. And Allison and I had a demonstration on this. It eliminates, I think, the most work for her. But way faster on both of our ends to do this. It also takes, we have a separate timekeeping and attendance software right now. So all of this will be together in Front Desk. All of the clocking in, clocking out, everyone will have access to your pay stubs. You'll be able to go in and look at all the pay stubs, print your W-2s again if you want to.
So this annual subscription of $26.60, is anything coming off? Is anything weighing that out, or we're not gonna have the payroll module or whatever?
Yes, yep, we won't have the payroll module anymore.
So it's not gonna be a net increase of $26.60.
It is, right, but it's not a wash either. It will cost us more to do it this way, but
It's gonna save time.
it will save time and it will give us grounds, I believe, to ask for lower bookkeeping fees. I don't know a better way to say that.
And it's not like we have a choice if we're sticking with this company. It's
Next year,
do it now and
we'll have
save
to.
some money.
I mean, yes, it's the same cost, whether we do it now or whether we do it in a year, because they're migrating us for free if we do it now. So
Nikki, what was the payroll module cost?
I was trying to find it. Current cost is $1,530 a year for the module.
So that's over half of what it's gonna cost us.
Yeah, I was hoping it was a wash, but it wasn't. So
Do we need a motion?
I'll motion to. Let's see, how do we do this? Motion to accept the bid for hub in the amount of $22,660. And is that all I need?
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of converting to Front Desk HR Hub. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Gordon McGee.
Aye.
Ms. Lacy?
Yes.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye. Discussion and possible approval of adding 200 front desk users. It's not like we've got a choice on that either.
We're at how many total now?
I don't feel good about this. Right now we have 154 users, but this 200 is to cover. This is the moving all of the auto pay, all of the ACH customers over to auto pay on front desk.
Which is going to happen in March, whether we want it to or not.
Yes,
Yeah.
April will all be run in front desk,
So we'll have a total of how many users then?
there are 214. Sorry, 217, I think, ACH users. So once we migrate all of them, we will have math,
About 375.
300, yes, ish.
And then we'll be at 400 users.
No, that'll be 375 total.
We'll be at our maximum that we're paying for will be, is it 200 per module that we're buying?
That's what it says here.
Yes.
It says
So we already
No,
have,
this is
says we already have.
50-person modules.
okay,
But this is how much we have to purchase to get all of our ACH customers. So we buy them 50 users at a time.
so total is 400.
So we need another additional 200 to absorb the ACH.
Yep.
And we'll be at 375 total based off of the.
And with roughly 500 users, do you see us going over that 500 or 400 mark anytime soon? Or do you think there's always going to be 100 people that'll bring a check?
I think it'll happen when they take the utility billing module and move it to front desk, when we will have to have everybody as an active user in front desk. And I haven't heard, they haven't said anything about when they're doing that, but at some point, but then we don't have the,
So at some point, we're probably looking at another 200 users.
yes. But at that point, I think we'll be completely done with all the simple city modules and we won't have any of those
Okay.
expenses. And everything will be in the cloud, which again lowers our liability and just increases serviceability. The other thing it'll do, especially when receipt management goes online, is the pool will be able to use the system for their sales.
And that'll help the daily paperwork a lot.
Yes,
Yeah.
it'll help everything. It'll help inventory, it'll help everything. It's just
Yeah, I'd say we need a motion and second.
I'll make a motion to approve the bid for 200 additional front desk users for a cost of $1,200 per year.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second for approval of adding 200 additional front desk users for $1,200 annually. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Jason Weesey,
Aye.
Travis Kramer,
Aye.
Scott Recording,
Aye.
Gordon McGee,
Aye.
Paul Kratz.
Aye.
Is it possible for our next meeting to have an actual grand total of what we pay G-Works per year?
Yes,
Thank you.
Are you sure? It hasn't been the same
I know.
for a month in a row yet.
I was gonna say there shouldn't be anything added for a while, but I'm not.
Well, no, I'm just curious because I don't, between things shifting and all that stuff, I was just curious. Yeah, I just
I know.
want
Yes,
grand total.
absolutely.
Thanks.
Yes.
Item D, discussion and possible approval of renewing the international, what's the International Institute of Municipal Clerks membership for clerk at a cost of 200 and adding deputy clerk for an additional 115. Your initial impressions are that it's worth investing in this deputy clerk and she'll be here in 12 months and
A little worried she's gonna be here tonight. She brought a plant, so
she's putting down roots. I'd say it's worth $115 chance.
she's interested in, she likes further education. She's very interested in these opportunities, so
This doesn't help us keep the office open if we send you both to school, but I think education is important.
well, this is the other thing that I didn't have yet to put in the packet, but they are starting for 2022, they're having an online a whole lot of online training. So we should be able to both do these without closing the office.
Cool. So I'd say we need a motion and a second.
A motion to approve the renewing of the IIMC membership for clerk at a cost of 200 and add a deputy clerk for an additional 115.
Second. We have a motion and a second for the renewal of the IIMC membership for the clerk for $200 and a deputy clerk for an additional 115. There's no further discussion. Let's vote on that motion.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Gordon McGee.
Aye.
Jason Weasey.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item E, discussion and possible approval of Verizon phone line for deputy clerk at a cost of $42.84 a month.
Should have waited a month for this.
Should have waited a month.
For more things. So Kate is taking over the auditorium rentals and things like that. So you use an app on a cell phone to program that code, that lockbox. Also to communicate with people who are renting out that space. And just to protect the privacy of her personal cell phone. I would like to be able to get her a village phone. Otherwise, I mean, we can pass mine back and forth, but
Do we have a motion? Or second or discussion?
the phone itself is free, by the way, it's the service.
Nikki, how urgent is this? Is this something that can be tabled for a month?
Yes,
Only because I wonder if there's a way that we can utilize some other services to get a disguised phone number through security. I'd like to take this executive session.
Okay.
To discuss ways that we can maybe offset the cost of a full cell phone in a way we can get their numbers up. Just table it. I'm not against it. I just want to maybe explore some other options where we can save some costs or maybe pass it on to her and or letting us use the physical box, but not her number. There's more to that.
Okay. Nikki, did you have anything else for us? Your report, anything? Anybody have any questions for Nikki? If not, we still have one item under H that I think we just need to get everybody caught up and make sure we all know where we're at with one of these potential contracts. We can go into executive session for that if we choose to.
Streets meeting.
For a street committee meeting. Do you want to do it next Monday?
I think that works.
I can do before 10 or after 11, probably. You want to do it early Monday? Can you do a 9?
I can do 9. 9's actually probably better.
9 a.m.
Yeah, let's do 9 a.m.
Scott,
I can go
or
later.
did you guys want to try and do a meeting sometime?
Oh, that's fine. That's okay. No, that's fine. Oh, yeah, I get there. Gotcha.
You want to try on Monday too, as well?
What am I signing?
These are the-
Radar?
You do it really early. in the
Deals.
morning.
Reminds me of Max when Radar just hands things.
the liquor licenses.
What, just let me know.
I need to sign right here.
Tuesdays. Fine with me. Can we do that? Tuesday, Thursday. Yeah, that's fine.
Right now.
Just put anything in front of her. Those G-Works will be DocuSigns, so if you want to take your laptop, figure it out.
Okay, thank you.
So Sheila said that they thought that they only got 4,300 for the library.
There were 2 grants.
Urgently can do it.
One, I think was for an intern.
So Deb supposedly has the information.
You have anything else for us?
No, you don't know what the results of the executive sessions.
We're probably just gonna have some vague contract discussion. I don't know that we've got a contract in the packet that we offered and it hasn't been sent, but it's been out there for a while. I just want to catch the rest of the board up on what we were thinking when we offered that potential purchase contract and I feel like
So we can approve it next time then, or?
I don't know that we'll have a contract to approve. I just don't know where it's gonna go. It's either gonna go that the NRD could buy out his properties or he could gift us one. Because we don't really want to approve one of them as a buyout in the middle of a block kind of thing.
No.
So,
That's all it is. There's nothing crazy.
all right.
Did we get these through?
Yep.
12 months?
No.
I don't think we did.
That's stateside. Nikki has.
So we should probably have a motion to go into executive session.
Motion to go into executive session for contract
Contract
review.
negotiation. Do we have a second?
Second.
Let's have a vote on that motion, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Scott McLean, Gordon McGee.
Aye.
Paul Chris.
Sorry. I don't think this needs to take very long. If you want to stay, I would appreciate you being comprised. John, I don't know if you want to stay or not. You don't have to, but
Yeah, but I don't know what I'm saying.
it's just, I just want to make sure that
It's still recording. Hold on a second.
that we have the recording off before we go into executive session.